Okay, so this morning, and I guess I've been kind of thinking about this for like a couple of days now. I was asked a question by a kiddo that I didn't know how to answer. Um, like, how do you navigate a question like that? And at work, like we have to do these trainings periodically, and one of them is called cultural awareness or cultural competency. And it's basically about understanding that every culture does things differently. Um, every family can do things differently. And I talked to my kiddo about, um, like, just even though we're all Americans, like here in the USA, it doesn't mean that we're going to all do things the same. Like, something as simple as, how do you say soda? Or how do you say pop? Right? Like, I grew up in Florida and we called it soda. My sister called it Coke. Um, like every kind of carbonated, caffeinated beverage that you could get was a Coke. Um, but I went to a restaurant in Iowa and I asked the waitress, what kind of soda do you have? And she said chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla. And I'm like, there's chocolate soda? What the heck? Um, I was a teenager at the time, so I thought that was really, really weird. But like everywhere you go, everybody does things differently. And there has to be some kind of awareness on what's offensive, what's not offensive. How do you communicate and connect to these people in a way that doesn't feel threatening or harmful to them? Um, like in some cultures, when they go to the bathroom, they use their left hand to wipe. And if you offer your left hand to shake their hand as a greeting, they can take offense to that. Um, so you wouldn't ever offer your left hand in that culture. So do you know things like that? Are you aware of things like that? Um, so the question that the kiddo asked me, because there's no such thing as a stupid question, especially from a kiddo who is trying to learn and understand the world around them. And their question was like, how do you know what sexual harassment is? How do you know if that's something that that person would consider sexual harassment? Um, and he used the example, and the kiddo is bisexual, and he used the example of like in football, or like if you watch any NFL game, you will see football players like smack each other on the behind. A coach will smack you on the behind. All right, get out there and play. Have a good game. Um, and if that was a gay man, like one man, an employer or coworker, smacking the behind of another coworker would be considered sexual harassment. So how do you navigate things like that when you get your first job? How do you know what's going to be sexual harassment to that person? Um, I mean, and there are things that are universal. There are things that are like an understanding and awareness that that's not acceptable. I mean, but how do you navigate things like that when culturally in football that's acceptable? Um, and that's the world that we live in. Like, I mean, like we have it as a constitutional right for freedom of sexual orientation. And you can't be discriminated against because of it. So, how do you understand and define what is considered sexual harassment to somebody who gets turned on and is attracted to both sexes? How do you decide? Like, I have a coworker who mentioned that they're pretty much asexual these days, and they don't have any sexual attraction or desire to anybody else. They do have like a companion partner, but they're like would any kind of flirting or innuendo or joking around, would that be considered sexual harassment to that person? And is it something that you personally decide and define? I mean, if someone is doing something to you that you don't like and you've repeatedly said no, and you've like told them, I don't like that, don't do that to me. If it is causing you distress, is that how you define what harassment looks like? Is it that you're not understanding what they're doing? Do you want no connection at all to that person? What's the term that is going to make that person understand? Is it the word space? And they understand that space means don't connect to me? Has someone ever said anything like that to you? Do you ask questions that clarify, well, what do you mean by that? What kind of space? Do you mean physically? Do you mean energetically? Do you mean emotionally? Do you mean like, don't ever talk to you ever again? I mean, are there questions trying to understand each other? Or is there some other bigger boundary that this person is crossing for you? Do they think they have the right to do whatever they want to you? And so I ask questions like that. And the person that I did ask at work is actually going to talk to our HR department and figure out what's going on with that, and what does that actually mean as an employee here, for someone who is on the queer spectrum. And speaking of like cultural understanding and awareness, like in the queer community, the rainbow is symbolic of being queer. It is a symbol, like it's called the pride flag. But like the rainbow can be all kinds of things. To me, it is the chakras, right? Like the 7 main chakras. Each one of the chakras has a color, it has a symbol, it has a name, it has a sound frequency, and it has a spirit animal, according to shaman around the world. And because I have chakras up in my house, it doesn't mean that I'm pro pride, and it doesn't mean that if I have something that has a rainbow in it, or that if I don't have something that has a rainbow in it, it doesn't mean that I'm anti-pride, right? Like, I mean, what kind of situational or cultural awareness do we need to have, or does there need to just be more conversation around topics like that? Right? Like, what kind of things do we do in the workplace that someone who is queer could consider sexual harassment? What kind of things do we do in the workplace that, like, someone from another country can be like, that's really offensive? Like, right now I'm thinking about, like there are ICE raids in California, to remove Mexican immigrants from our country. And like I went for a walk yesterday, and in somebody's window it says, ICE is the Gestapo. So I just think that like conversations like that are really relevant, and like you have to be able to have that kind of conversation and to talk to people. And if somebody says things to you that you don't understand, like, I would like space from you. Do you ask those clarifying questions, and do you respect that boundary? Right? If someone says, stop doing that to me, I don't like that. This is my body. I've never invited you here. This is too close of a connection for me. I'd like space from you. I mean, do you respect that line? Like, there are people, like right now in our community, that are not scheduling doctor's appointments because they're afraid they're going to be deported. So it doesn't matter if it is absurd in your mind. You don't have the same worries and fears and frustrations that the other person does, and all you have to do is be respectful of where their line is. At least that's my take on it and my perspective. And right, like, I don't own other people, so all I can do is talk about what my line is, and hopefully you respect that line. But I just think conversations like that are important. All right, have a good day.